Hey guys, welcome back to part 3 of the tier list series. This should be the last one in the series. This is going to be after you've got your core team built from the previous couple of videos and you're looking to heroes that you can use to optimize your team, do a little bit better in PvP, as well as I'm also going to list heroes that are good for PvE specifically, so bosses, clearing den, planet trial, the pet floors, etc. And yeah, let's get into it. Disclaimer, this is really for people that spend nothing or a little bit. The people that spend tons and tons of money. Somebody asked me what classifies as a super whale, and this is people that spend thousands of dollars on the game. If this is not you, and most of us aren't, then you're not really concerned too much with what those people are choosing because their heroes aren't going to be doing the same thing as ours because of gallery stats and access to better artifacts and the fact that they can just pick and choose heroes to build as they want. Plus, the big cosmics that are very expensive, like we don't really have access to those. So this is going to be heroes that we use that they probably don't use, but that should not concern you. All right, let's get started. Okay, so number one on this list. This list is by itself unranked, like it's not really ordered in any way, so all of these are of semi-equal value. So number one on this list is going to be Themis. The reason is she is semi-able to counter Chazlon, not directly, but simply because she has a revive that can allow her to take the big poison, die, use the axe to buff up her stats enough to where her return skill will instantly kill the other team. You add on to this by giving her her skin, which gives her an extra bubble after she revives. That allows her to not be crowd controlled quite as easily. And yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. You give her an attack rune, you make sure she has her red skin. I'm not sure Mythic matters that much. And you give her an axe, and you kind of hope that it works against their Chazlon. You will at least try to position her to hopefully eat as little crowd control as possible, but really this is a counter to the fast Nyx teams where their goal is to come in and hit you as fast as possible off the beginning of the match, and then you take that all, hopefully she eats it, revives, survives until the end, and kills them. By reviving also, she should wipe the poison so she can't be fierce poisoned, or she gets poisoned by Chazlon's skill and it doesn't convert into fierce poison. That's really the hope, is that she survives long enough to come back with her skill. And she has always been known to hit very hard, so combine that with an axe, and usually she can come through in the end. Obviously, this doesn't always work, but it is one option that you have to fighting massive Chazlon poison. So number 2 on this list is going to be Leo. Not because he does a lot of damage, but if you are working with a Nyx team that's trying to kill them as fast as possible, he has a passive that adds 80 speed to the entire team just for starting the battle. He did recently get updated. He used to only give 30, but now he gives 80. 80 is higher than Galileo can give. So this is really in a situation where you have Nyx, you're trying to be faster, they have a Galileo, you need to outspeed their Galileo. Even if Galileo is at max potentials, or not max potentials, but the other one, he will give 55 speed, and Leo will obviously give you 80 and be faster than that. Now, if they have a Leo as well and a Galileo as well, then you're just going to have to think of something else. But in the case that they don't, Leo will be the one to make the difference and give you enough speed to be faster than them if your goal is a fast Nyx team. That's really all he's there for, because you're not really worried about whether or not he survives or what he even does. His gear honestly doesn't matter. I find that giving him something like an amulet can help, because that's just a passive increase to heroes on the same row as him. But amulet is not easy or cheap to get. Again, it's not really important what he wears, he just needs to be there. Number 3 on this list is going to be Sigurd. Now, Sigurd is fast and able to drain energy from 4 people, but he cannot affect Nyx's energy. So in there, he cannot directly counter the Nyx part of the team, but he can drain energy from Koshka, from Chazlon, from Skuld, from Old, from anyone else that you're worried about that may that maybe their crowd control gives you a little bit of an issue. He won't work against Themis because if she revives, she gains 100 energy immediately. But all the rest of the heroes, maybe you drained energy from Chazlon, he's unable to fire his skill, your Cosmic Phoenix prevents them from killing someone, and they don't get Fierce Poison going off on that turn. You know, maybe he can make a difference in those cases. This is a very case-by-case scenario. It's very luck-based because you don't know who he's going to target. And yeah, that's all you can do. So in order to get the most out of him, you're just going to want to make him as fast as possible with energy. So you're going to try to give him an Hourglass, a Speed Rune, and that's pretty much all you can do. Hope that he's fast enough to stop something from happening. Now, number 4 on this list, and these 3 heroes are going to be more very, very specific situations, not as good versus general teams, and just heroes that maybe you've already built everything above and you're just looking for something extra that will help you be a little bit stronger here and there. As very specific cases is Azathoth. Azathoth is weird because he has the potential to be a good tank, but really at this level he needs to be completely maxed out. He needs to have mythic skin, he needs to have max gear, he needs to have max rune, and even then he's only barely passable as a tank. So the thing that makes him good is his exile can potentially stop someone in the back. Let's say if they leave their Koshka in the back, you have a 1 in 3 chance of taking her out of the battle for a little bit. Same for maybe if they put out a Cosmic Freya in the back that's not T2 yet, you know, something like that. His skill does land Executioner's Call. It puts it immediately on all clerics if he's T5 red, but his skill hits the front line and puts Executioner's Call on them. I think his regular attack hits the back line, and he works really well against Satario and Nyx because they all have massive self-healing, and so if you can stop that, you can slow them down a little bit. It's not completely reliable, but Satario himself is not really all that amazing and not all that prevalent anymore, and Nyx, well, Nyx is... he's not even always in the front line anymore, so Azathoth is going to be a case-by-case basis. Sometimes he'll work, sometimes he won't, but maybe he will make a difference for you, and maybe he won't. But at least you have the option of trying him out. So Azathoth will want Speed Rune. You can give him either Hourglass or some other energy artifact. It really depends on who he's trying to be faster than and who you can do damage to the point that his Executioner Call needs to work. Because if he's already faster than all the rest of your team, then really your X Call doesn't change all that much. So it's not that important to have energy on him, but that's going to depend more on your opponent, so you'll have to play with it and figure it out as how he works for you. Number 5 on the list is going to be Old. Old is just kind of here because she's just good enough to be at least useful and not terrible, but not because she's going to actually do anything special for you. If you're using her in PvE, she gives you another revive that you may or may not need desperately when enemies are highly overscaled. And then if anyone on your team does happen to die, she does weaken the entire enemy team. So she just is there for an extra ounce of survivability where needed. But really, it's not that she's bad, it's just that there isn't really a direct place for her now. In most PvE, rather than pure survivability, you're aiming for as much damage as possible in the fastest amount of time. So as good at healing and defense as she is, she's kind of phased out a little bit right now, and that is very sad to see. I did like her a lot, but oh well. Maybe when we bring back long battles, she'll have a place again, but right now, she's just kind of there for fun. So she will want a speed rune, hourglass, etc. Anything for speed and energy, and that's about it. Number 6 on this list is going to be Saizo. Not that he's really super amazing in any particular mode, but if you are looking to find a use for that Valkyrie that you made early on and you found out that she really wasn't all that good at high level PvE or PvP, Saizo is the best answer for conversion. He's at least decent for PvE because he does very good boss damage. For PvP, because his regular attack hits 3 people and he's fairly strong on his own. He's a pretty good filler for damage if you don't have all the high-end heroes. But otherwise, he's just kind of a jack of all trades, master of none kind of a thing. He does okay damage, has okay survivability with his T3, and that's about it. He's nothing special. He's more there as your last-ditch conversion choice for Valkyrie rather than because he's amazing. So that will be the end of the heroes that are good for PvP and general purpose. Next, I'm going to do the PvE heroes that are more specialized for that. So let's move on. All right, so we got to start with Arwen. Arwen is just amazing. She's been out quite a while, but nobody has come close to touching her damage for bosses. Her single target damage is just absolutely out of this world, and paired with Cosmic Freya, she's just ridiculous. So if you don't have Arwen and you wonder why your boss damage isn't anywhere as good as people above you, here's your answer. Build Arwen. So the way that she works is she targets one enemy, she attaches chains to them, and for the first 3 hits, her attack will go up by 70% each time to a cap of 210%. So that means after turn 3, she's doing 210% extra damage to the boss every single turn. And then you pair her with a whole lot of support. You definitely give her a mythic 88% artifact for the hero that you're trying to kill. And you just try to stack her support as high as possible with Skuld, with Cosmic Freya, with Phoenix, with Koshka, etc. Anything you can stack on her to make her stronger, because it's not even a comparison. She's going to do 10 times as much damage as even the second best hero. The second best hero might be like Cosmic Skuld, but because she needs to be maxed, we're not going to include her on this list. But like Saizo, she'll do 10 times Saizo's damage easily. Not maybe even more than 10 times. Maybe like 100 times. She's that good. So absolutely, you will try to be building her. Arwen is a little bit easier to get. She's in Wheel, she's in Luck Shop, but really overall, because she's an elf, she's a lot easier to get than Heaven and Hell. If you're done with Diamond Keys and Cleric, pulling them an Assassin for her, for Chazlon, for Leo, for Saizo is not really the worst idea. So focus on Arwen. Probably about at T4 is when she'll start doing all your T5 reds in damage when she's built right. So that's it. She's just the one that you must have at all cost for that. She's not as good versus multi-enemy teams, so for Den, Planet Trial, or anything where you're facing a whole team of 6, she'll be okay if the enemy team is entirely one class, like it's all warriors or there's 5 warriors out of it, then she can do okay. But she completely breaks when there is a Sigurd on the team, because she will lock onto him and she will continue to try to attack him even when he's in his shadow mode and fail. So you cannot use her when there is a Sigurd on the team, and because Sigurd's attack is very high, she will really end up on him first or second or third, but either way, she will not be able to kill all the enemy team because of him. Gear for her will be Mythic 88 when possible. Give her a crit damage rune and just build her for full attack. She doesn't really need her skin, it just looks nice, that's all. Number 2 on this list is going to be Phoenix. Now, I know that we need Phoenix copies for Cosmic Phoenix, but Phoenix herself is really, really good for support. Her skill has a chance to give a random hero 100 energy, as well as burning the enemy, and while she is alive, you do an extra 30% damage to all burning targets. This stacks with Vinci, who gives, I think, an extra 20% or something to burning targets, and it completely stacks with him. So for any boss, if you have Phoenix, you can also throw in Vinci and immediate bonus damage. Vinci really is the best boss pet for that, or second best boss pet for that reason. Phoenix's gear is going to depend heavily on your team. Typically, you can run speed and energy. However, it kind of depends on who she is faster than. You don't necessarily need Phoenix to be fast. Like if you already have a lot of Hourglasses or Tears of the Goddess on the team, you might want to make Phoenix slower, or you might want to make her fire a second turn or something, depending on your team, obviously. If your team is built around like Arwen firing on turn 1, then Phoenix will need to be faster with energy. If your team is built around Arwen firing turn 2, then maybe Phoenix can fire turn 2 as well and change who she can potentially give energy to. So this is going to change a little bit depending on your strategy, but in general, speed and a Hourglass or a Tears of the Goddess Star Shards is going to be what you'll run Phoenix with. Phoenix, well, she's in Diamond Keys, so you'll be pulling her if you're aiming for Skuld and Koshka, and overall also not super hard to get. Yeah, so Phoenix will be one of your second go-tos for boss damage in support. You're always trying to fill in with support for Arwen, so Phoenix, Skuld, Koshka, Cosmic Freya, and because that's only 4, you can fit in a 5th hero, either like a second Skuld, or you throw in a Chazlon or Saizo to get in a little bit extra damage. That's really how you'll approach most PvE bosses. But in general, that will be your core PvE team that you're going to want to work with. So this is the end of the list. So I hope that it helps you choose heroes that you might have been kind of lost on who to build after you finish the core heroes. And hopefully this gives you a little bit more direction in where you're going. As always, there is a full tier list with all heroes in the video description below that has descriptions for and rankings for everybody else. Particularly, you may be looking for the heroes that I did not mention, such as Rex, Isabella, or, Bryn, or Cosmic Skuld, etc. And those were just not the best of the best, so I didn't bother including them in this video. I wanted to give the ones that were the most important, that people should be chasing before looking into branching out and, building random heroes. So hopefully this helps, and comments, questions, feel free to leave me a message on YouTube or on Discord and I will respond to them. That is all. See you guys next time.